Hey everybody! Welcome to the first episode of Vic's Picks, a little segment for creators by a creator that focuses on highlighting some of the best creators of full permission tools of the design trade. If you're a veteran, stick around for future episodes where we'll cover some things you might not yet know about, but heads up, you're probably well aware of what we're going to cover today. With the spring full perm fair coming to a close soon, I thought it might be best to start with the most essential tool in creating anything instead of jumping right into mesh. Today we'll be talking about some of the best texture creators in SL. These are my absolute go-tos when I need something specific, or even for a boost of creative inspiration. Just walking around in any of these 3 texture stores has you leaving with a ton of new ideas you can't wait to get started on. It's hard to choose a top 10 texture creator list, let alone put them in any kind of favorite order, so the simple solution seemed to just be to pick the 3 that I personally create with most often. This is in no way picking favorites, I want to be real clear about that, just simply highlighting my top 3 used in my own designs and why I think of them first with specific things. I'll throw some honorable mentions in at the end too, because I really did have a hard time cutting the list short. So first, let's talk about timeless textures. The first word that comes to mind when I think of this place is variety, which is why I want to talk about Miss Xavius' store first. This girl is all over the place, whether you need fabric, stone, crystal, alien skin, or something else that used to be alive, she has it all. I used to come here primarily for my unconventional texture needs, but I've filled my TT collection with tons of fabrics and metals and dragon scales too, and I just love this place. Make sure to stop by at least once a week for her incredible sales haul. She stays quite busy with an entire double row of new releases, deals, and group gifts she adds to weekly. The people in this group are a lot of fun too, and often work together to make things happen for everyone. This group reminds you to come get the dancing crab's treasure at the winner's table, and sometimes Miss Lily is kind enough to nudge us all out of our design comas to come hit the Midnight Madness board in time. There's a lot of camaraderie here. Plus, Miss Xavier keeps everyone updated about hunts and other fun events she does that you can go check out for yourself. There's also an entire wall dedicated to her current events, and if you'd like to jump into the hunt action, she's also the hunt organizer for Pounce Hunts and stays extra busy running monthly themed hunts you can sign up for here as well. Next up, let's talk about Texture Me True, a fashion designer's place to drool a little. The first word that comes to mind when I shop here is luxury. I sort of feel like going into the fabric store mood on Project Runway when I come here. I love to come here when I'm thinking of doing something I want to feel chic or really expensive. His prints and fabrics all look like something that could have designed a 3-page fashion editorial in a magazine. If you're doing a sleek pantsuit or any kind of resort wear or even glitzy, glamorous showgirl stuff, this is your new favorite texture store. Joining the group is in your best interest here too because of this massive wall of group gifts right here. Plus, if you are a texture stalker like me, then there's a special slap of OMG when you finally drool your way through the entire store. I feel like it's a special surprise and you gotta earn your way and drool to find it, so go find it and try not to go broke along the way. And last, but most certainly not least, I want to talk about Koshi Textures. In fact, this is probably the biggest bulk of my entire texture collection, and quite honestly, I start here with almost every design intent. If we're being real honest, in fact, you might even say that I started collecting textures because of this fine lady right here. The first word that I think of when walking into Koshi Textures is, believe it or not, texture. She has the most tangible collection and wide variety of very specific fabrics that hold a lot of depth. Speaking of which, she was one of the first I noticed to start including normal and specular maps. These are the texture lasagna layers that create what everyone calls materials, in case you didn't already know, and can be appreciated when you have advanced lighting model checked in the graphics tab of your preferences. Miss Koshi's store is my go-to for anything beaded, or especially silk, but her store is also educational, where she offers such specifics as different types of silk, georgette, linen, satin, taffeta, and even cheesecloth. quite often, a little secret here, I'll even use these gorgeous solid fabrics as overlays on beautiful textures I get from other stores. So even when I'm using other textures, I'm still sort of using Koshi Textures. This generous lady got me hooked on textures due to her low-count Midnight Madness boards she has set up at every store she has, plus the 3 located in her store here. Also, every week she gives out one of her new releases as a group gift, so joining the group here is also a vital part of her second life. There's also 3 not-so-secret rows of kick-ass deals for the group on mostly her combo packs, which include coordinated solids and such specifics as I mentioned before. And quite honestly, it was a random few purchases like these that made me realize how vital those solids were for subtle texture, and how much work she puts into putting out new texturally touchable versions, so you're not getting the same silk or cotton or linen every time. If you're a budding fashion designer and are unsure of where to start texturally, then this is the first stop for you. With this kind of color and texture variety, the clothes practically design themselves. And now for a few honorable mentions. I absolutely love these next few places. First, I'll talk about Torn, who's seemingly come out of nowhere this past year and had the most delicious textures I'd ever seen, but a very small collection of them. I've literally used every single texture I've ever gotten from this place, but lately they've gotten into the mesh game and are doing a fantastic job of it, and I'm not sure if they intend to continue texturing, which is a damn shame. A damn shame, I tell you. Then we have Fabric Lab, who has the loveliest boho fabric collections, and when I say collection, I mean she gives you a freaking collection. I think the biggest pack I ever got at one time had almost 80 textures in it, and every one of them was super cool. The only reason Fab Lab isn't in my top 3 used is just that simple. I just haven't used much from there yet, but collect it I do. And last up for honorable mentions is a really cool place called Pella. They offer a unique shopping experience where each vendor is a really classy collection of color coordinates, and they're classified by a specifically named palette of color. You can design an entire collection and then build on it later, just from different packs of just one palette. Something about her organization here makes it really easy to shop for male-specific fabric too. If I ever started designing for men, I would come here first. Definitely worth checking this place out if you haven't yet. Before we go, I want to mention one of the best ideas I've ever seen for creators in Second Life, and that's the CCM Warehouse, created by Miss Summer Windlow of Costume Creations. It's sort of like the Full Perm Fair, only much more permanent, and you can find all 3 of my top used texture creators here, plus some of my top used full permission mesh creators as well. This place is awesome for being a one-stop shop of some of the best in SL, and all in one place. Recently it's grown tremendously, so I wanted to make sure everyone knows about it. Also, if you find yourself bald, naked, and lonely in your designer cave, want some like-minded designer friends, or just a safe place to talk about mesh issues or design hurdles, then you're welcome to join our Designers Circle group. It's a little place where you can bounce ideas, talk about new mesh releases or sales, and even comfortably ask for help if you're stuck on something or having design issues. Well, that's all, folks. Thanks for watching the first episode of Vic's Picks. That's me, your host, Vicariously. Now go make something pretty. Take care.